All right, now we're doing 7Q noisy cell counts. This is by A. Miller Fizz, and 90% of people like it. So a researcher is studying cell division in a large number of samples. The data are an array of integers corresponding to the number of the cells in the sample over time. The first element, data at 0, is the initial count, and then the next data 1 is some more, and data 2 is some more after that. The cells are reproducing, so the elements of the array are supposed to be non-decreasing. There's no cell death, but the automatic cell counter has undercounted, and it randomly undercounts by 1 at random. All right. Anyway, our task is to create a new non-decreasing array that is minimally different from the data array. For example, if it's like this and there's this 1 here, we're going to change that 1 into a 2, or that 2, because data 4 is less than data 3, all right? And that's not supposed to be, that's clearly an error. So the first entry of the array is correct, and it does not require an adjustment. The array will never be empty. All right. So we could start off by doing a for loop. We could go through and compare this to a variable, right? So we'll start like with a variable 0 and check it against this, and whichever one is bigger, we'll put in the new array, which this is going to be the new array, and then we'll change that number to this one so we can check the next one, see if it's bigger or not, put that in, bigger, and then we'll go to this one, and since that number will be 2 at this point, and this is smaller than this one, we will turn this one into this one and keep going, and that's basically how it's going to be done. So we're going to start off here and say let result equal an empty array, so that's where we're going to put this stuff, and then we're also going to let number equal 0. All right, so we'll come down here and we'll say for let I equal 0 while I is less than data dot length, we'll say I plus plus. All right, and then we'll check and say if data at I is less than number, what we're going to say is, so we get to this one, and if data at I is less than what the number is, what we're going to do is we're going to say result.push number. All right, and then if not, else we'll say result.push data at I, and we'll change the number into data at I. All right, so let's test that. Oops, wait, we got to say return result. So let's test that, and it works. Awesome, great. And attempt it. All right, awesome. But you know, this is a lot of typing, really, honestly, and there is a way to do this one-liner style. We could come over here and say /*, come down here with a control end, do a */ comment the whole thing out, do a control home and say const cleaned counts, and then we'll have that equal data, and we'll also have number in here. Number equals 0. All right, and then we'll do an arrow just like that. So we'll come down here and we'll say data.map. All right, and if you don't know about the map method, basically it creates a new array populated with the results of calling a provided function on every element in the calling array. So with this one, x is going to be the elements, and we're going to do the current element times 2. So 1 times 2 is 2, 4 times 2 is 8, 9 times 2 is 18, 16 times 2 is 32. When we run it, it looks just like that. All right, so we're going to come down here, and to every element, what we're going to do, first things first, let me show you. Down here, the syntax we're going to use is this arrow function syntax, where we say the data.map, and we'll have element here, an arrow, and then the expression. So we're going to say element here, arrow, and then for the expression that we're going to do to every single element is we're going to say number equals And this time we're going to check between the two, we're going to use Math.max. And the Math.max static method returns the largest of the numbers given as input parameters. And here's the syntax. We're just going to say Math.max value 1 and value 2, separated by a comma. So we'll say number equals Math.max, and we'll say element and number, like that. So basically, it's going to come in, and no matter what, it's going to put whatever we put as the number in there, all right? But we're going to check at the first one, it's going to be, let's go over here. At the first one, it's going to be 1 against 0. So 1's going to be bigger than the 0, so we're going to say Math.max number, which is that. The next one's going to be 1 and 1. So they're both the same, so we'll just say number equals 1, blah, blah, blah. 2, we're going to change it to 2. And then when we get to this one, Math.max between these two is this one, so that's what we'll put in there. All right, so let's test it. And just like that, and attempt it. All right, just like that. All right, so we went from this to this, and they're pretty much exactly the same, you know. So the map method wins again. So let's submit it. And you see here, this is pretty much exactly what we did, except for they did it normal syntax, using the return statement and all that. Here's an even cooler way. We're using spread syntax on data and just changing everyone in the array if array at I is bigger than array at I plus 1, and then returning the array. So that's a pretty slick way to do it. Here's using the reduce method with the accumulator, the current index, and the current element and the index, and then a bunch of stuff using the ternary operator. I mean, we could go through it and look at it, but you know, take your time if you feel like it. Let's go over here to mine. Just me on this one. Best practice in my opinion. Very much like it, and we'll see you next time.